y'all. This is Pam at Pink Dragonfly Wings, and we are here for Magic Monday, week 3. So we have week 3, and what we're going to do today is we are going to make these little bags. We have a couple of restaurants here in town that have they give these little sacks. Actually, they look like this, except these are white, that you can put they give you your silverware and your napkin in, down in this little bag. And of course, I can't let anything go to waste, so I grab up these little bags when we have lunch, and made some little journaling cards for our journal. So that's what we're going to do today. I had 2 brown ones and thought I had 2 more brown ones, but I don't. But I do have 2 white ones. So we're going to use these 2 to make 4 of these out of white. So let's get started. Now, these little bags, from the very top to the very bottom, is about 10 3/8 of an inch. What we're going to do is fold these up in half, and then we're going to cut them in half. We'll do the same to this one, and it makes 4 little pockets. Alrighty, so we have 2 bottoms, and these 2 bottoms are okay. They're connected at the bottom because we didn't cut those off. These are like a tube, so because we cut it off the bottom, so we're going to have to glue down here to make our bottoms. Let's go ahead and glue that so I don't forget to do that. I guess I could show you the little prototypes, couldn't I? I tell you, this is just nuts. I have so many things going on, so many things to do. I can't remember diddly squat. So, there we go. We'll let those be drying so they'll be good and stuck together. Now, we've got to do some little holes here for these. Now, I use these, let's see, I think I just cut them down. Let's look at one. This is the little sack, and it's just a little sack. This one just has some paper on it. A couple of them I put coffee dyed paper and then some journaling paper on the back of it. It's kind of whatever you want to do. I kind of made them a little bit different. This is just a little tag made out of cardstock. On the 2 like this, they're kind of done with those dry powders that you put in water and you mix it up. Anyway, I didn't put any journaling on the back of these. The person that gets them can just write on them or make your own. Put your own journaling paper on there, whatever. And then I put a little paper clip here, a little decorated paper clip. And I have some of these for sale in my online store if you want to look at them. And have that hang down. Now, on the other 2, let's put that one in face right. On the other 2, I did ever so slightly different. They're not terribly different. But I have, I didn't put any paper on the back of that one either, but I did on the back of the envelope. This one does not have the coffee dyed paper, and I guess I did all of these with that powdery water stuff. And I was just playing around one day and made these and thought, oh, well, those are cute. So anyway, that's what we're going to make if I can ever get around to it and I can remember how we made them. So bear with me. Put this back on here. That's just to kind of hold the card in and make a little embellishment on the side. We did one in red, one in purple, one in pink, and one in teal. And I think that I just tore my little sack. But that's okay. It's a junk journal. Okay, so we're going to put these over here. And we are going to get our little sacks here. Those two are drying. We're going to get our deckled edge scissors and cut ever so slightly down here. And then across. And then we'll cut this one down at an angle. This little bag doesn't give you a whole lot of room, so you have to kind of make it work. And then we'll finish cutting that across. And let's trim that off just a little bit more, because I don't want it to get in the way of our card going down and back out, because this is just a little wax papery type bag. And like I said, I got them at the restaurant. We have two restaurants that use these. One restaurant uses white and one restaurant uses the brown, so that's why they're different. So let's cut this one down just a little bit. Try to do it a little straighter down this time. Cut that off right there. And these two are already done. Let's cut that off right at the seam because it's kind of sticking out anyway. And we don't need it to stick out anymore. Now, if we want the top to be kind of like everything else, we can kind of round this with our scissors. And make it kind of like the tab on the top. We could even cut just a little bit more. There we go. And then we have that one, and then we'll cut the top of this one. And I'm not using a pattern, I'm just kind of eyeballing it to make them look pretty much the same. All right, now we're going to do something a little bit different. Let's go ahead and ink the edges of these, and I'm going to ink them in brown. Because these are white, I think I may do a little, let's see here, let's use this. A little piece of coffee dyed paper on the back just to give it a little bit of strength. Now, these are intended to be glued down, but if you want to use the paper clip to just clip it in, you can certainly do that. Whatever floats your boat and whatever you like the best. So, okay. Now then, this, I'm going to do one of those and one of these. Let's see. Those are both the same. It doesn't really matter. Let's go ahead and ink the front. Now on the prototypes that I made, I had some little leftover scrapbook paper from a journal that I had made. And so I just used those. That's how they were cut, and I just trimmed the edges with our deckled scissors a little bit. Did those. And then, but I used all the 4 little scraps I had. So we're going to have to come up with something new. And we could do the same thing, but we're not going to. We're going to do something different and be a little more adventurous. And I think that we'll just work on making 2 right now, because I promised that these little videos would be shorter than the normal ones. So I want to make sure I keep my word, but I'm also a slow crafter, so I'm going to put those 2 over there. I think I will get a piece of pink paper and maybe a piece of green coffee dyed paper. Our tag is now 5 inches long, and it is about 2 3/4 inch wide. So I want to cut this just ever so slightly bigger than that, because I want it to kind of hang out on the edge like it does on these. See, it kind of hangs over the edge here, and I want it to do that. So we'll get our tearing ruler, and because I'm going to do one of these in pinks and blues, and one of these I'm going to do in blues and greens, is why I chose the back papers that I chose. So we're going to tear this, hopefully, and surely, well, let's just scoot over a little bit and make it a little bigger. It will tear if it's bigger. I have not learned how to do these scissors with those little bitty tiny strips torn off. I just don't know how that works. I know I'm probably doing it wrong. If anybody has an idea, please note in the comments so I can learn how to do this correctly. We'll go ahead and tear this apart because we are eventually going to make 4 of them. Now then, we need 2 3/4. So let's just make it 3. That'll give us a little bit of extra to hang off each side. We don't want it to hang off a whole lot, but we do want it to hang off a little bit. So we'll cut it at 3. And then our tag on the bottom is about 2.5 or 4.5. So we'll make it about a little more than 4.5. I tell y'all, math is not my thing, so I don't, you know, a little dab. It's kind of like my grandmother used to cook, and she'd use a little pinch of this and a little dash of that. Well, that's how I measure. So we can always cut it off if it's too long. So let's make it about that. Okay. So we'll save those 2 pieces. We have these. We're going to put it on the back of one. And we may have a little bit more space than we had before, but that's okay. That's okay. Put those up there. We will ink these around the edges. Could just do it like this and do it a lot faster, because that is going to be covered up. A little bit more on the edge here, a little bit on this one, it it doesn't really have to come in this much because we are going to put some lined paper on the edge of it. So we'll go ahead and cut us some lined paper. Here's a piece of pink. Actually, I think I like this pink better. And somewhere in here, I'm sure I have some green. Surely, if not, maybe time to... There's one. It is getting about time to print some, but for now, we got it. So, again, we're going to use our little ruler here. We'll tear off at the top. Tear a little on the edge. I hope everybody is doing well. We're into our third week of January, so time is just zipping right along. Alrighty, now this little piece is 3 3/4 wide by 4 3/4 long. We want this to be a little smaller than that. So let's make our writing paper about 3 1/2. I've got 1, 2, 3 1/2, maybe even a little less than a half. I think that's right. Put those over there for our next two. That somehow I measured wrong. It is 3, so we need it to be 2 3/4. So we'll tear off a little strip, and it's a bigger strip too. So there we go. At least when I make a mistake, I make it in the right way. So there we go. Now that should work better, I think. Yes. And then we'll measure it on here, about like that. Okay. Now we'll ink this one and put it on here. And we're just going to ink the edges. We don't have to. We want as much writing space as we can get on here. So we're going to just ink the edges. Just ink the edges. Okay, then we'll get our glue. Our grandkids went back to school today, so we don't have to. My husband has gone to pick up the little one. He gets out at 3, and the older one doesn't get out until 4. So he usually makes 2 trips. The little guy has when he gets out of school, he's just so tired, and he wants to go ahead and come home. And of course, Granddad obliges that, goes and picks him up, and then goes and picks up the older one. And we have to have our daily stop by Sonic. I tell you, we keep Sonic in business. So, here we go. Smooth that out a little bit. And we get one of our little envelopes, and we're going to line this up right at the bottom. So we will go right down here. Let's put this on the bottom. See, I don't guess it really matters which is the top and which is the bottom. We're going to put this right on the bottom and have it hang over just a tad so that it hangs over just a little bit right there on the edge so that it lets somebody know there's something back there. And then we'll edge up this side just a little bit more. We could even cut this one off just a little bit. That is sticking out a little bit too much. But that works. And that one is almost ready to go. We'll do the green one. If I can find the green one. There's the other bag. Here's the green one. We're going to do the same thing. Yeah, so anyway, my grandkids went back to school today, so my husband and I actually went out and had lunch, just the two of us, and had a great time. It was so quiet, so nice to... That one's very uneven, so let's even that up just a little bit. We're going to put it at the bottom and let it hang over slightly, ever so slightly. Okay, there we go. And so we're just gonna let the phone ring and just let it ring, and then we'll ink up the edge just a little bit on the front, just to kind of let it okay, so now we have those done. Now then comes the fun part. I made a little baby book here a while back, and I put some pretty pictures in it, and I had these little pieces of photo paper left, and I think what we're going to do is do some alcohol spreads. Let's put it down this way. Oh, now I have ink all over it because I got it on my fingers. We're going to do it that way, and we're just not going to be able to see our little mark. There it is. And I'm just going to kind of cut them at an angle, just like that. Then down the edge, ever so slightly, because I do not want it any thinner than it has to be, because this is going to go on the front of our book, or on the front of our pocket, our stack. This is called a tag in a bag. So we're going to do a tag in a bag, and we're going to make this one. Well, I wanted to make it go in the other direction, so I guess we'll have to cut this off at the bottom. Do this one, cut it at an angle. Doesn't matter how big an angle, just whatever suits you. We'll save that little piece, cut two more little pieces here. And There we go. Alrighty, so we're going to move these out of the way. Those will fit just fine. That one may be a little tall, so let's cut it down just a little bit. How's this one going to be? That one's perfect. Let's cover up our ink. I always forget to do that. Now then, we're going to do these separately because we're going to do one, and I'm going to grab us a couple of napkins, and we're going to take this one, and we're going to spray it. Let's get our inks over here. Let's go ahead and do the green one first, and I have some greens and blue alcohol inks and all this. So we're going to saturate this with alcohol. Let's see if we can find one of these that will open before our alcohol dries. Okay, and leave it. Get a little bit of our teal here. And maybe just a little dab of blue. Blue denim. How does that sound? Now, you can let it run if you want and make a little pretty tag using the colors that you've chosen. It is a little messy to do, but that's okay. We like messy. And then just ever so slightly. And then we can get our heat gun here and heat it for just a couple of minutes. With this alcohol, it dries pretty quickly. So you have to be real careful on this ink paper because it will burn if you leave it too long. We don't care what the back looks like. There we go. There's our blue one. Let's get our pinks and go ahead while we have all of this out and do our pink one. If I can figure out how to open the bucket. Well, again, saturate it really a lot with ink. I think we need a little flamingo in our life today. And do it that way. How about maybe a little purple? And I don't know, what do you think? Maybe a little orange? Or is that too much like the flamingo? Maybe some yellow. How about some peach Bellini? Alrighty. And then again, we'll get it and kind of wash it around and make these beautiful swirls and colors. And when you get it like you want it, and I lay the edge down just a little bit so that it'll kind of seep up on the napkin a little bit, then we'll dry it. Now, you don't have to swirl them around if you don't want to. You can just leave the little psychedelic looking dots and stuff on there, and that works fine too. but I kind of like the movement of them going together. Alrighty. So now we have those dry. Let's start with this one since it's the driest. We'll put a little ink on the edges. Now probably the photo paper's not going to pick up this ink terribly well, and we don't need it to. We just want it to kind of have a little definition of the edge here. Okay, put a little glue on the back of it. Does not take long for that glue to kind of cover over. And we'll put it down on our green one. I think I'm going to scoot it over just a little bit and put just a little piece of lace down the edge of this. I think it will look a little better. Scoot it over before it dries. Okay. That's not lace, but that looks kind of pretty. It kind of picks up the dots and stuff in our green. So let's use this on this one. And since we're using lace or fabric or a little bit, we'll use our Fabri-Tac. And put it just like that. Cut this off at the bottom. And we have pocket number 1 done. Let's go ahead and do pocket number 2, or bag number 2. And put this on here. And let's get our ink, our glue. And put this one on this side. And we'll put, I don't know. What about this lace? That may be too wide, do you think? Oh, no. I think that looks perfect. So we'll put that on there, cut it off right here. Get our Fabri-Fix. Put it down the edge. I think it matters. Put this one right here. And we have bag number 2 done. Easy peasy. Now, we could continue to decorate this with some buttons, some sequins, some pearls, some rhinestones, whatever you think. I will wait to do that part because I don't know where I'm going to put them in my book and what will match. So we'll do that when it's time to put them in the book. So now let's get some cardstock and work on our little tags. And let's see here, get a little piece. And I had a little tiny cutting board somewhere, but who knows what I've done with it. So we're gonna wing it. And And we want our tags to stick out at the top, so we want them a little longer. This one is right at 5 1/4 inch by 2 1/2 inches. So I think we will fold this in half. And make our mark at 2 1/2, did I say? Yeah, 2 1/2. And I've lost my pencil. So we're going to do 1, 2 1/2. And it sounds like my guys are home. So I'm going to pause and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. That was my little guy coming home from school. And so we had to talk about his day and his little packet that he got and all of his fun stuff. So anyway, here we are back. And we're going to finish the inside cards here. While I was gone, I did find my handy dandy little cutter here. So we're going to do these. We are going to cut them at 2 1/2, I think. Is that right? 2 1/4. Nope, 2 1/2. By 5 1/2. Forgot my measurements. 5 1/4. Okay. Well, let's try to figure out exactly what I'm doing here. 5 1/4. And those are already at 5 1/4. So we only have to make one cut. There we go. Now then, we're going to use our little punch and punch some holes at the top, or a little design at the top. This is one of my old, I think Martha Stewart maybe. It doesn't really say. But anyway, it's an old punch that I've had forever, and I love the little lacy top that it puts on it. So I use this one quite a bit. This is my favorite punch probably, or at least my favorite border punch. So we're gonna, oh, well, that was kind of strange, a strange feeling. Can't find my little teardrop to line up. All right, now we have one that is green and one that is pink. And I used the powder things last time when I made the protocols, but I'm gonna do them a little different. And since we put shiny on the front and all of that kind of stuff, I think that we will just ink them. So let's do some inking on the side of this, and we'll do the edges pretty dark all the way around. Yeah, I just don't know what I'm going to do to get these videos to be any shorter. This one is turning out as long as the ones I usually make. So I don't know if that's because I'm slow or because I'm long-winded and I can't keep from talking so much, or exactly what the issue is, but that's my problem. And then I'm going to, because I don't like stark white, I'm just going to put some in my little nubbin, a little doobie dauber here is not new, and so it has, I've given it a haircut a time or two, and so it has these little marks in it, but I think they're really cool when they come out on the paper. So there's our blue one, or our green one, and let's see if I can find my pink dauber, and we'll do pink on the other one. Picked raspberry. We'll make this one pink. There we go. All the way around. As I've said in previous videos, I do tend to be a very heavy inker. I like the dark ink on the outside edges. I don't always get dark on the inside, but I like the edges to be dark and defined. So we'll do some circles around this one. They kind of end up looking like little puffy clouds or little puffs of cotton candy, and they make me happy. So we're going to go around here. We're going to do some of these and leave those. There we go. So we have our pink one done. Okay. And then I think because this is distress ink, I got a little green on there. Goodness, what am I going to do? I think we'll spread just a little bit of white water on here. And then it kind of gives it a sort of a raindroppy look. It kind of soaks up some of the ink. We'll dry it. You won't be able to see them probably on camera, but they're very subtle little droplets on the paper. And we'll dry it off just a little bit. Doesn't take a whole lot. I'm only going to do it on the front. And I'm not going to put any lined paper or anything on this, simply because we have lined paper on the back of the bag. And so I think that having the tag here where we can just write on it is going to suffice and be perfectly fine. We'll stick that one down in there. And what did I do with the green one? Where did I put it? Does anybody see it? Oh, this is the green one. Okay, put the green one down in here. There we go. And then for our book, we can put them here somewhere in our book. I don't know that they're both going to fit on the page, so which one should we use? I guess we could put one up that way and fold one down this way and have them both fit on the page. That would look kind of cool. And then we'd still have this one that we could pull out and this one that we can pull out. Let's go ahead and do that. That's not going to work because we put paper on the back of it. So this is something that needs to be clipped. So why don't we clip one on one side and one on the other side? How would that work? Then put them down here at the bottom. Unto that. And then I have these little bitty, I guess they're called bulldog clips, but they're little tiny ones. They're made by Tim Holtz. And we can use these to hold both of these in at the same time. And not put any more decoration on it. They're kind of small, but they'll be perfect to hold these in our journal. So those will hold perfectly right there, and one right there. What do we think? And then we can use these to do something else. I know when I did the last one, I put this our little book on here, and then I went back and added some raindrop washi tape, and all just looked so pretty. So we could add a dolly. Now that's kind of pretty. And maybe a button. I know I have a big old huge box of buttons somewhere. And I took them to my mother's. And I don't know what I did with them when I came home. So we'll put this right here. Maybe use our daubers and put a little pink. On our doily, and then go back with the ink that's still on there, put a little green. So we have a little green, a little pink. Put that right there, and that would be beautiful. Okay. And we could even put another doily on the top of it. Here's one that has a little star on it. How does that look? That may be too much. Let's just go with the one that we have. Put a little glue on the back of it. That looks really pretty. And somewhere amongst all of this stuff, here's some pretty pearls, but I don't know that I want to do that. I like that. I think it needs a little bit more pink. There we go. Do that. And maybe a word. What do we think about a word? Okay. Have all these little words in here. Choose to be happy. I think that one would work beautifully. We'll pull this one off. Put it over here. Pull this around. Tear it. Okay. Get our little pink and green daubers again. I don't know how they can get away so quickly. Maybe I didn't. It's because I didn't put it back in there. So let's do maybe this side and down here in pink, and do this side this end in green. And put a little bit of our Fabrifix on it. There we go. Beautiful. I just don't know that I'll like that because this one over here kind of seems naked. So I think maybe wonder if we could hook them together here. And put them in that way. Maybe with a paper clip dangle. Let's see what we have in our paper clip dangle bucket. And see if we have something that might fit that. I have a green. That's a pretty green. And then put these on here like that. That works. And then our dangle will hold off of our page right here. So I like that. I like that better than it being on the other side. Very cool. All right. So there we go. Finished it. And this is our Monday, Magic Monday number 3. We'll put it in there so we can remember. And we're done. I will see y'all next week for week number 4. No telling what we'll be making that day. All right. Thank you for joining. Please visit my store at pinkdragonflywings.com. Wings is spelled with a Z. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and we'll see you here next Monday. Bye.